What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And as you guys have been waiting for, the breakdown of all of the treasure map Whitebeard stages, as well as the optimal team compositions you guys should be trying to aim for in order to take on treasure map Whitebeard. So in this video, we're going to be going through all of the different bosses, the teams, and we'll also go over the unit itself, because some people are still wondering whether or not this Whitebeard is really worth it. And I mean, straight away, you just gotta say yes, all of the treasure mode units are insanely good, but we'll actually break down every little thing about Whitebeard so you guys know exactly what you are farming for, and then we'll head to the bosses, and then we'll head to the teams. So hopefully you guys do go on to enjoy the video. If you guys do, make sure to smack the like button down below, but without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So let's start talking about Whitebeard. So Whitebeard is going to be an int, powerhouse, striker type character, and at max level with max limit break at level 99, his health is 3,564, 1595 attack, and 283 recovery. So overall his stats are very, very good. He has 60 cost like all other treasure map characters, and also will have 5 socket spots at max limit break. Prior to the limit break, he only has 1 socket spot. So remember guys, when you get all of the copies of the Whitebeard, make sure to max limit break the unit first, then feed all of the copies so you can quickly rainbow the unit, giving him all of his potential abilities, get the skill ups, and he'll have 5 socket spots available so you can get all your sockets straight away. Remember to max limit break them, because I know a lot of people did not do that in the first treasure map, so remember you have to do that. But now let's talk about his captain ability. So Whitebeard's captain ability will go ahead and boost all characters' HP by 1.35, and will also go ahead and boost your crew's attack proportional to how much HP you have left remaining. So let's go ahead and break this down. So his captain ability giving a 1.35 health boost is pretty significant. That is a very, very high amount of health that Whitebeard gives as a captain, and the amount of attack that you get is proportional to the health remaining. So at max health, at 100% health, full HP, you will get 1 times attack multiplier, so you don't get any boost whatsoever. However, when you are at 1 HP, the lowest you can possibly go with your crew, he gives you a 3.25 multiplier, and it scales depending on how much percentage of your HP is remaining. And remember that because of the increased health boost, it means that at lower health or lower HP, you have a higher multiplier, but because of the increased health boost, when you're at a certain percentage, you're going to have a lot more health remaining, which means that you can tank a lot more hits at lower HP thresholds, which makes him actually a pretty decent captain. But most of the time, when you have this Whitebeard, you're most likely going to be using him as a sub for your powerhouse or striker type teams. And his special ability, which will max at 15 turns with max special and max limit break, he will go ahead and change his own orb into int. He'll go ahead and deal 100 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies that will go ahead and ignore barriers and all defensive effects. And he will go ahead and boost your crew's orb effects by 2 times if the enemy has a debuff or a delay protector, and he will go ahead and boost his own attack by 2.25 if the enemy has a barrier. So this is a pretty extensive special ability, but these abilities all stack with each other. So if the enemy has a debuff or a delay protector and they have a barrier, you'll get a 2 times orb boost from the delay or debuff protector, and you'll also get the 2.25 attack boost for himself only if the enemy has a barrier. But the best thing about the Whitebeard, in my personal opinion, is the wave clear. You're doing a ton of wave clear. 100 times his attack is very, very significant, especially if you're max limit breaking the character, and if you do choose to feed cotton candies to him, it increases his damage a whole lot more as well. And on top of all this, he gives himself a matching orb as well. So if you are able to fulfill all of these conditions, Whitebeard gives himself a 2.25 attack boost, 2 times orb boost, and giving himself a matching orb. So when you activate his special, Whitebeard's going to be doing a ton of damage, and his stats are insanely high. So he's going to be a very, very hard hitter for powerhouse and striker teams. The best teams I've seen Whitebeard being used on is like mainly Hody teams, because Hody obviously being the powerhouse lead, and powerhouse already have a pretty good amount of wave clear. You know, you got V2 Lucci, Hody himself, so with double Hody and V2 Lucci already, and then you have Whitebeard on top of that, like this is so much wave clear that can help you clear some of the Colosseum stages a lot easier, because a lot of the Colosseum stages do have, you know, debuff protectors and barriers and stuff like that, which is really, really good. So this Whitebeard is a very good unit. You're not going to be using him as much as some of the other treasure mode units. I think a lot of people won't be using him as much as the others, but overall, still a very, very powerful free-to-play unit that I would recommend you guys try and max out. So now let's start talking about each of the miniature bosses that you guys will be fighting before you have to fight against the main boss, Whitebeard. Now remember, with each of these mini bosses, every time you beat them and you increase your treasure map level, they will actually increase their own health and their attack values after each level. And all of those values will be stated in this video as well. And also remember, you can challenge them in the middle of the map before you reach the final boss. And if you do that, they will have decreased health values. I think they end up going to about 20 to 25% health left. So if you do take them on in the middle of the map, it does make them considerably easier for the final stage. So the first boss we're going to be talking about is going to be Marco. Now, Marco is a Psi unit, and he has 310,000 health, and he will gain 27,900 health after each treasure map level, and his attack value is 7,200, gaining an additional 324 attack points per run. Now, he doesn't actually do anything except for one thing. He does one singular thing, and that's at the end of every turn, he fully recovers all of his health. He does not do anything under a certain threshold. He doesn't have an interrupt. He doesn't have a preemptive attack. The only thing he has is after every turn, if he still survives, he will fully recover his health. And I believe his attack cooldown will be ranging from 1 to 2 turns when you first encounter him. I'm not too sure if that increases or decreases, but still, Marco is probably the most easiest one, or one of the easier ones to take on in this treasure map. The next boss that we're going to be talking about is going to be Jozu. Now, Jozu is a strength unit, and he only has 5,000 health, and he'll gain an additional 450 health per treasure map level. And then there is his attack value of 10,500, and he'll gain an additional 474 attack points per treasure map level. Now, similar to Marco, he only actually does one singular thing, and that is the fact that on his preemptive attack, he gives himself a debuff protector, and he will also go ahead and increase his defense by 1,000 times. So his defense value is very, very high. It's extremely significant. And the way to get around this is to basically use a fixed damage dealer, and this is one of the characters that you don't actually need to go ahead and clear in the middle of the treasure map. So if you encounter this boss, you don't really need to encounter him to decrease his health. He's extremely easy. All you need to do is bring a fixed damage dealer that can deal, a reasonable amount of damage. So guys like 5+ Sanji, 6+ Kuzan, Legend Sanji, those three characters in particular are very, very useful. Even though those three characters are not point boosters, they will make taking on Jozu extremely, extremely easy. However, if you guys are looking for a point booster alternative, we will go through that in the team compositions towards the end of the video. Moving on now, let's talk about Vista. Now, Vista is actually a quick unit, and he has 360,000 health, and he'll gain an additional 32,400 each treasure map level. His attack value is 3,600, with him gaining an additional 164 damage per treasure map level. His preemptive attack will go ahead and slot bind your top and bottom row characters, and will also special rewind all of your non-captains for 1 turn. So just to reiterate, the top row and bottom row will have their slot sealed for a turn, and then all characters that are not your captains, so your bottom 4 characters, will be special rewinded for a turn as well. So extremely annoying to deal with. Then when his HP is below 20%, he boosts his own attack by 2.5 times, and he negates all damage for 4 turns. So basically, if you get him under 20%, you're most likely going to be taking the L, the solid L right there, so don't get him below 20%. So make sure to clear him extremely easily, extremely quickly, rather. So my suggestion to you guys is to take on Vista every single time you encounter him in the treasure map. And when you see him on the treasure map stage, take him on straight away so that he'll have the reduced health when you fight him at the very, very end, because he is by far the most difficult and most annoying boss to take on in the entire treasure map. And we'll go through a team at the end of these breakdowns that can take on Vista extremely easily, that I would highly suggest you guys to build for in this upcoming treasure map, Whitebeard. Also, something minor to note as well is that on the stage 3 stage of the boss Vista, there is a mob character that will apply a paralysis and blindness for your crew for 2 turns. Now, for some reason, I don't know why they had to make this Vista stage so difficult, but for some reason, there is a mob character on stage 3 of the final fight that will go ahead and paralyze your crew and blind your crew, and it's really weird because there really isn't any way to get around that. You kind of just have to stall for 2 turns in the middle for some unknown reason. I don't know why they implemented this, but again, just to reiterate, definitely take on Vista every time you can in a treasure map, because it will make taking him on in the final boss stage a lot easier. The next boss that we're going to be talking about is going to be Broskiis D Ace. Now, Ace is a dex unit, and he will start off initially at a 1.1 million health value, and he adds an additional 99,000 per treasure map level. So he is going to have the most health out of any of the bosses thus far, and he gains a lot more health after every treasure map level compared to every other boss. This guy's going to be a lot more tankier to take down. Also, his attack value is 4,200, and he gains only 189 damage per treasure map level. Now, his preemptive attack will go ahead and apply an attack up for himself, and also halve your crew's chain multiplier for 2 turns. So bringing someone that can lock your chain multiplier is going to be extremely useful against Broskiis D Ace. After the first turn though, he'll go ahead and lock all your orbs for 1 turn and change all your orbs into negative orbs. So that is going to make it's going to make it extremely annoying to take on Ace. You're going to try and aim to take him down in 1 turn, otherwise you're going to get a full board of negative, and them all locked for a turn as well. Also, when you kill Ace, he does death damage, and the death damage is equal to his attack value times 1.5. So in this specific instance, after the first treasure map level, he will deal 4,200 damage times 1.5, and that's how much damage he will deal to your crew. So in the later stages of the treasure map level, when you have, an attack value of, over 10,000, over 20,000, some of the really high levels, you will need to bring a damage reducer. And in the team that I'm going to be going through over with Ace, the team that I suggest is actually a pretty solid team and will be able to take you a long way through treasure map Ace in the very high levels. And now we move on to the final stage, the final boss against Whitebeard. So on stage 4, you have to fight his unevolved version of Whitebeard. Unfortunately, according to the game with statistics on their website, there is no health or attack value stated for stage 4 Whitebeard. But if we have to go by his stage 5 statistics, he's going to be pretty tanky overall. And he has a preemptive attack that will go ahead and special bind your captain and your friend captain for 3 turns. So bringing someone as a sub that can unlock the special bind is going to be extremely useful for this fight. But overall, it's going to be really annoying to take down unless if you do have pretty much all of the new Germa batch. The Germa batch is going to be extremely useful for this fight. So if you do have them, kudos to you for having them. If you don't have them, then you're going to have to find some other ways to build teams around a treasure map Whitebeard. Now moving on to his stage 5 fight. So this is the next stage straight after the one that we just talked about here. Now Whitebeard, obviously being the int boss, he has 1,550,000 health at level 1, and he gains an additional 139,500 HP per treasure map level, and his attack value is 10,056 that adds a 450 attack per treasure map level. His preemptive attack will go ahead and bind your friend captain for 5 turns, so bind is chaining of course, so he chains your friend captain for 5 turns. He adds a delay protection for 98 turns, and for 1 turn he has a 3-hit perfect barrier. And remember, that is only for 1 turn, so you can wait a turn, wait for that to expire, and then burst him there for it. So that you can do that if you really want to. His first attack though, he will go ahead and double his own attack power though. So when you enter the final room, he actually has a 2-turn cooldown, so you get 1 turn of grace, and then when he goes to attack, he actually doubles his own attack when he attacks you. So that's going to be very annoying. So either bringing a damage reducer to tank the hit, or to actually just kill him before that happens is the most ideal situation around that. Also, if you go ahead and apply an HP cut against Whitebeard, he will blow away 2 of your crew members for 3 turns. So ideally, you don't bring any health cutters, because obviously if you do, you're going to get completely destroyed. Make sure not to bring health cutters, or if you do bring them, make sure not to use them against Whitebeard. Otherwise, you're gonna be in for a bad time, so make sure not to do that. Okay, from now we're going to be talking about the most optimal teams that you guys can build in order to take on each of the 5 stages of treasure map Whitebeard. Now this first one here we're going to be talking about is going to be the optimal Marco team. Now this team is going to be able to take on Marco significantly throughout all of the extremely difficult stages. However, if you do want to get more points against Marco, you can still go ahead and use treasure map Mihawk and the rare recruit Treasure Mode Zoro from the previous Treasure Mode Sugo Fest, that Dex Zoro character. You can use him and Treasure Mode Mihawk on the same team because both of those characters are 1.35 boosters, so you can build a slasher team in order to take on Marco. That's if you want to go ahead and get more points from that. However, this team is going to be definitely dealing a ton more damage against Marco because you have the double Colosseum Sicilian lead, which will give you a 2.5 times attack to your int, and I believe under 30% they give a 3 times attack boost to your int characters as a captain. And remember, Colosseum Sicilian with his special ability, which is really low cooldown, will go ahead and double the attack of int characters for 1 turn as well. So he is your crew's attack booster. You have the Neo Raid Akainu that has recently dropped on Global, who can give all of your int characters matching orbs, and he also goes ahead and does a 1.75 affinity boost for your int characters as well. You've got Doflamingo for an orb boost, and then the other 2 units are kind of just filler units. They can be filled with any other units that you own that are int in order to fill out the int team against Marco. Now let's talk about the most optimal team to take on the Jozu boss. So Jozu, as we mentioned before, he's the character that had a lot of defense and really low health. And I mentioned that there are a couple of characters you can bring in order to just use fixed damage to completely wave clear the room. However, the ones that I stated weren't point boosters. In this specific situation, what you want to be doing is using your Colosseum Gin, who does 500 fixed damage to all enemies. You can use that against Jozu to clear all of the mobs, and then you can use Burundi World Rare Recruit to do 500,000 fixed damage to one enemy which you target that Jozu, and then you can go ahead and completely clear that room using 2 special abilities, and you'll have a full team of point boosters. Now this team utilizes the Zora and Buggy. Obviously those 2 are definitely replaceable. And Sengoku as the captain just enables you to speed farm this stage extremely quickly. You can blow through it extremely quickly, having the 2 turns of cooldown reduction from both captains, 2 turn reduction from the cooldown reduction sockets as well. Or ideally, something else that you could do as well is you could run a shooter based team with Colosseum Raizo as the captain because he reduces cooldowns by 2. And then if you're running a shooter based team with, you know, Kizaru or something like that, the Neo or Raid Kizaru on the team, and Burundi World is also a shooter as well, you could run Colosseum Gin on it just as a filler unit. But you can go ahead and use the Cannonball ship, which lowers your cooldown by 2 turns as well. That is also another way you can use it as well. Buggy on this team is also a shooter, so there is some potential for some change, but these are just ones that I've suggested that are pretty accessible, I would say, except for Burundi World. Burundi World is extremely annoying to get, and a majority of the player base will definitely not have him, so I definitely don't blame you for that. But if you don't have Burundi World, as I mentioned before, you can replace him with characters like 5+ Sanji, Legend Sanji, or 6+ Kuzan. All of those characters are extremely useful for this fight. Now the third team I'm going to be suggesting is going to be the team that you should use against Ace. Now I'm suggesting a powerhouse team here with double Rob Lucci 6+ as your captain, and then running Hody as a sub. Now remember, Ace does death damage, and what you can do is utilize your Hody Jones to negate damage, or not really negate damage, but take significantly reduced damage by 90% with his stage 2, or I believe it's 60% damage reduction with his stage 1. So either way, you can get some really nice damage reduction with Hody as a sub. Then you've got Ichiji here. Now Ichiji will go ahead and lock your chain multiplier, and he does a secondary ability as well, but you mainly want to use him as your chain multiplier locker. Me personally, I don't have Ichiji, so I'm going to be using Zio instead in this team, because having the chain multiplier locker is extremely useful, because remember, Ace will go ahead and reduce your chain multiplier in half, so having this character instead is going to be the way to go, so you can lock your chain multiplier and do a ton of damage. Yonji is a filler unit, honestly. You don't really need him on this team. He's kind of just there as a filler unit. And then you've got your Raid Fuji to give you an orb boost as well. Now, to get orbs on this team, you really want to be using your Rob Lucci special, you know, prior to the final room, so you can get some matching orbs. Also, Fujitora can provide some matching orbs as well, so making sure that Fujitora gives orbs to both either a Rob Lucci and your Ichiji as well. Get some red orbs and take down Ace from there, and obviously using Hody on the death hit so that you don't take as much damage. So this team is going to be pretty effective for taking on the Ace boss. And if you guys don't have access to Rob Lucci as your captain, you can still potentially use Raid Fujitora as a captain as well. He is also a powerhouse boosting captain. You're not going to be getting as much damage output, obviously, but that team will still work. And if you don't have Hody Jones as a unit to use to reduce damage, there is a Fortnite Momonosuke that is available. He is not a powerhouse unit, but he is a point booster that does reduce damage. So you can still run him on the team, and you'll be able to get reduced damage, which is going to be pretty significant in the fight as well. Now, before we talk about the team for Treasure Map Whitebeard, let's talk about the Vista team very quick. So this team looks very strange just looking at it, but remember what I said, you want to be taking down Vista every time you enter the treasure map. Now, noting that when you kill an enemy in the mid-map, when you verse their final boss, they are going to have reduced health. Therefore, running double Garp is going to instantly kill Vista. So you can go ahead and use a Garp special, and if the health reduction to Vista is not enough to kill him, you'll get the 30% health cut, and then you can use the second Garp to instantly kill them. So I would ideally suggest, and what I'm personally doing, I'm running Invasion Garp against Vista. As I mentioned before, Vista is extremely difficult to deal with, so I'm running Garp against Vista to just instantly kill it, instantly wipe the floor with it, and then move on to the next boss. And that is what I would suggest to you guys as well. And the only other suggested unit I would recommend for the Vista team is utilizing Raid Kizaru or Neo Kizaru, whichever one you really want, and you can use the other one for another team as well, because you can use their special ability to lower your crew's cooldown, or lower fighter and shooter characters cooldown. And because fighter teams is basically what you want to be going with Invasion Garp, you can go ahead and use your Neo Kizaru or your Raid Kizaru to lower your team's cooldown, so you're not really stalling as much. So that is what I would suggest. But the other three units can be filler. There are a couple of fighter Fortnite characters that you can just put in the crew just as point boosters, just to fill out your team, because you're only using this team and basically just using the special of Garp to kill the room anyway. So it's completely fine. You don't really need to worry about the subs all that much. But as I suggested, bring Kizaru to lower your cooldowns. Now, the final team that we're going to be talking about is the ideal team against the Whitebeard boss. So, ideally, because the newest legend is Legend Judge, he is going to be definitely the most recommended unit as your lead against Whitebeard. So the team goes as follows. You have the double judge, of course. You have Reiju and you have Niji. These two characters are pretty important. But because you want to be using the highest point boosters you possibly can, you take out your Ichiji and you take out your Yonji to fit in Squad and Akainu. Now, because of that, that's why we have Ichiji and Yonji on the powerhouse related squad. So that's why those guys are there in particular. But with this team in particular, you know, you've got Judge to go ahead and give you the orb boost for your crew, and he also can give you a couple matching orbs as well. He will go ahead and get rid of the bind on your friend captain when you use the Judge special. Also, Reiju will remove special bind on your captains as well, which is all good. You've got Niji for your type booster. You have Squad, who can go ahead and give you the chain boost as well. And Akainu is also there, just mainly for points, but he can actually go ahead and remove Barrier, I believe. He does something really, really good against Whitebeard. You want to be bringing those characters against Whitebeard. They help significantly. So make sure if you have them, to use them. Obviously, not everyone's going to have them. They're very, very difficult to get. But if you do have access to Akainu and you have access to Squad, and you do have these characters, this team is going to be very, very effective for taking on Whitebeard for a significant amount of time. And remember, Judge has significant amounts of health boost and damage reduction, so even if you do have to take a hit from Whitebeard, it really doesn't matter all that much on the earlier stages. On the more difficult stages, it could be a problem. But the amount of tankiness that Judge has, he'll be able to tank hits for days, and he does a lot of damage against Whitebeard as well. So this is the most optimal setups against all of the bosses in Treasure Map 2 against Whitebeard. Now, myself personally, obviously I don't have Judge and I don't have any of the German units, so I'm not going to be running that Judge team against Whitebeard. Personally, I think I'm going to be aiming for running a Mihawk Slasher team against Whitebeard, because Mihawk and the Zora are both 1.35 boosters, and I want to use the biggest boosters against the final boss, Whitebeard. So I'm not really too sure exactly at this stage on the most optimal Slasher team against Whitebeard, but if I do come up with something, make sure to check it out when the treasure map drops. Remember, when the treasure map drops, I'll most likely be streaming over on twitch.tv/Toadski. The link to that is always linked in the description of every single video I upload. Make sure to go ahead and check that out. But I'll most likely be streaming the treasure map as soon as it drops, so make sure to go ahead and peep that when it does drop. But I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to smack the like button down below, as these videos do take a very, very long time to make, so I really hope you guys did enjoy it. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.